I just want to talk more about the 48s because you've been involved in many 48s, and you have won a 48 in the past too. So let's talk a little bit about that.
You won the 2024 IE competition.
Yeah, man, it was a journey because after that first one, at that point, that was like 2010, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't yet started directing at that point. You know what I mean? Nor had I started doing cinematography or even editing. I was like more, at that point, I was like a writer, actor, who also would, work for different teams. Like I did AD work or other, below the line work and stuff like that. And so at that point, I was like, okay, after that 48, I was like, okay, you know what? I was AD for an independent feature, a small micro budget thing. Yeah. But it took months of weekend shooting and all this. And so after that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to start directing, but I don't want to just be like, okay, me and some buddies are going to make something one day. No, I was like, I want real stakes. So I want to, I want to screen in theaters. I want there to be a deadline. I want real challenges. And I was like, well, that 48, it kind of fits that. You know what I mean? And so for that very first one, I planned to do the 48. I did this meet and greet, I think at El Torito, and, paid for everybody's appetizers or whatever else. And I had a DP that I was cool with. And so he, played some of his stuff, got people excited. And so after that, I had like a list of people potentially to be on the team. But of course, at the time, I still had a day job, dealing with this family, kids, the whole nine. Definitely, all we had was a minivan, you know what I mean, at the time. And the week the 48 was going to start, I had still not paid the fee. Because I was like, well, just in case something happens. Yeah. I don't want to, I don't want to be out. Money. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just in case, bro. Let me wait and make sure.
Save your $150.
And so I was going to enter Monday, and it just so happened on Monday of that, Friday's going to be the kickoff. Our minivan broke down.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? And so the minivan breaks down, my wife at the time, she's like, crying and all that. And so I think we had just picked up the kids from daycare. And so I said, well, look, what we got to do is we got to go ahead and get to a dealership, get something else right now. And then tomorrow we'll get this told. And I just happened to have like $2,500 that I've been squirreling away because I wanted to buy a Canon 5D Mark II, the one that kind of sparked the DSLR revolution. Yes. And I was like, man, this will be my treat. At the end of the year, I'll buy one. So, whatever. And so, and it took like every cent of that $2,500 to get the new vehicle that night.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, so as we were driving home, man, it's like maybe 11 at night, whatever. We're driving home, getting ready to get the kids. Then I was just thinking like, well, I guess you got to wait to start directing. You know what I mean? Because you wanted to direct for this 48, but you can't even pay the entry fee, much less paying for feeding your crew and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You
it adds up really quick.
Yeah, you can't even register. You know what I mean? And but as I got home, I was like, okay, well, don't let the first obstacle stop you. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good, but it's a hell of an obstacle,
I think, too, is that you came along at a time in life, too, where you had gone through enough hard things that you knew what you were made of and that you could keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's never, it always looks bleak initially, and then you kind of try to process things. And so for me, as I laid in bed, I was like, okay, well, all right, what would Spike Lee or whoever do trying to make their initial film? Aside from credit cards.
Aside from the old Kevin Smith.
Right.